It's a WKYT First Alert severe weather day, and I'm tracking strong to severe storms sweeping across the bluegrass, bringing heavy rain and the chance for some localized flooding.
He was the greatest of all time.
A champion in the ring, a hero beyond the ring.
We'll take a look at memories of the late Muhammad Ali coming in from across the world tonight.
Let him be free. He done boxed himself home.
As people throughout the nation mourn Ali's death, we'll show you how his hometown of Louisville is paying tribute to him.
This is WKYT News at 6.
From athletes to world leaders, many are taking a moment to remember the greatest of all time. Kentucky native Muhammad Ali passed away last night. You're watching WKYT. I'm Kristen Kennedy. We will get to the latest surrounding the boxing legend's death in just a moment. First, storms are making their way across the bluegrass. Some of them have the potential to be pretty strong. And that is why we have issued a First Alert Severe Weather Day. And we begin tonight with WKYT's Mike Linden.
That's right, Kristen. We have been tracking these storms almost all day, and if you rewind the clock almost 12 hours ago, you weren't looking at this. That just goes to show you the setup that we're currently dealing with, all that moisture in the air that's made things feel uncomfortable. Well, now they are firing up into a very distinct line of storms to the west, and we have already seen these storms passing through to the east. If we look at the 2-hour loop here over eastern Kentucky, we'll zoom in on Rowan and Menifee counties. Things were pretty noisy not too long ago, but have now relatively calmed down. These are fast-moving pop-up storms. Now we look over Franklin County, just now looking at the leading edge of what looks to be another well-defined line, as we touched on, over the Jefferson County, Shelbyville area. That will push eastward into Lexington in about an hour from now, so things are bound to get a little noisy, but the major player out of all of this is the flooding concerns. A flash flood watch is in effect for most of the bluegrass state that covers central, eastern, southeastern, and southern Kentucky until midnight tonight. So coming up, I'll break down the potential flash flooding threat as these storms continue to fire up, bringing heavy rain and some pretty strong winds. That's all coming up for my full forecast. Kristen?
Mike, he charmed and inspired millions across the world. Today, those millions mourn the loss of Muhammad Ali. The 74-year-old died overnight at a hospital in Phoenix. He's been battling Parkinson's disease for decades. His hometown of Louisville is remembering their hero tonight. WKYT's Mike Byer is there with our top story at 6.
Ali, Ali, Ali.
Ruby hides pretty proud.
I got the original pictures, but his signature on my stuff.
You would be too if you had the relationship with Ali that she did.
Took the wild and the rag to the stage, and he'll give us a wink and jump up and down and go around and just shuffle. And the other boxer was paying attention, thought we was flirting with him, and he knocked him out on the left side.
She wanted to be part of the crowd when Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher honored Ali at Metro Hall.
He took the name Muhammad Ali in 1964 and advocated for understanding and peace among people of different faiths. He was, of course, 3-time heavyweight champion of the world, a young, handsome fighter with swagger.
After the ceremony in downtown, people came out to Muhammad Ali's boyhood home, many of them dropping off mementos like these, while others that knew him came out to share stories.
I asked him when we was kids not to fight Corky Baker. Corky Baker was the town bully, about 6'5".
Sonny Fishback grew up with Ali on Grand Avenue in Louisville.
After we walk home from school, we go in and check in, and back on the corner as he tells me the stories of how he's going to become the heavyweight champion of the world.
He says no one really thought Ali would get to be as big a deal as he was, except Ali himself.
Something inside me could never digest that I'm talking to greatness like this. But he realized, you don't understand, do you, Sonny? I'm going to do this. And he did it all.
Fishback helps lead tours of Ali's home. He's proud to have been that close to greatness.
And I guess to sum it all up, he's seen that, man, it ain't about your color, man, it's about your character.
The kind of character Hyde says she'll never forget.
He wants everybody to be a blessing to each other, and Jesus took him home. Let him be free. He done boxed himself home.
In Louisville, Mike Byer, WKYT.
Memorials across the country and the world are popping up tonight. Muhammad Ali is being remembered as a boxer who redefined stardom and as a symbol of silent grace in the face of Parkinson's. CBS's Brooke Silva Braga continues our top story team coverage from New York.
Tributes to Muhammad Ali's extraordinary life came from all corners.
A champion in the ring, a hero beyond the ring.
Paul McCartney remembered a beautiful, gentle man with a great sense of humor. Michael J. Fox, who also battles Parkinson's, called him a warrior for the cure. His daughter mourned the loss of a humble mountain.
Here at Madison Square Garden, where Ali had 2 epic fights with Joe Frazier, the sign honors him simply as the greatest.
Fellow heavyweight George Foreman told CBS's 48 Hours what it was like to trade punches with Ali.
He'd get into the ring, and you weren't fighting a boxer. You weren't fighting a slugger. You were having to contend with the presence of one of the greatest human beings that I've ever met in my life.
In a statement, President Obama called Ali a man who fought for us. He stood with King and Mandela, stood up when it was hard, spoke out when others wouldn't.
He started as one of the most despised and hated men in the country. And our children need to know the real story. Everybody was not on Ali's side.
Basketball great Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who also faced criticism for his conversion to Islam, counted Ali as a mentor. "I may be 7'2", he wrote, "but I never felt taller than when standing in his shadow." Brooke Silva Braga for CBS News, New York.
Several of Kentucky's state leaders are sending their condolences to the Ali family tonight. Governor Matt Bevin tweeted, "The final bell has rung for a great Kentucky legend. Thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Muhammad Ali." Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell released a statement early this morning saying inside the ring, he was graceful on his feet and packed a powerful punch. Outside the ring, he thrilled us with his exuberance for life. He was more than just a boxer, he was the greatest. Funeral arrangements for Ali are set for Friday afternoon at the KFC Yum Center in Louisville. The service will be translated and streamed on the internet. Lee K. Howard will take a closer look at Ali's storied boxing career tonight in sports, and later tonight on WKYT, 48 Hours will air a special honoring the boxing legend. Muhammad Ali, Remembering a Legend, begins at 9. To read about his legacy and his passing, visit our website, WKYT.com. 4 members of a Lexington family killed 2 weeks ago in a crash in Texas were laid to rest today. Hundreds said goodbye to Israel Avalar and his 3 sons, Kevin, Daniel, and Matthew. Israel's wife, his mother, and one of his daughters are still recovering from their injuries. WKYT's Sabira Rayford was at the funeral in Lexington.
I can tell you support for this family was tremendous today. Friends and family packed the church, and their loss was overwhelming for everyone in the room. In your arms you cradle me. The sound of grief echoed through tears as a family said goodbye.
These boys called their mother, estos muchachos llamaron a su madre, my queen, mi reina.
Last month, Pastor Israel Avalar and his 3 sons, Kevin, Daniel, and Matthew, lost their lives in a car crash. Today, their church family filled Clays Mill Road Baptist Church. One at a time, church pastor Jeff Fugate shared his sweet memories of the family.
His big, brown, sparkling eyes, sus ojos brillantes, spoke more than words could say. Habló más que palabras puede decir.
Pastor Israel's wife Hilda and their daughters Kimberly and Vivian were emotional as they said their goodbyes. But Israel's mother wasn't able to attend. She's still going through rehab after breaking both legs in the crash. The family plans to hold a memorial service in a couple of months once they've had a chance to heal. In Lexington, Sabira Rayford, WKYT. And make me feel secure.
The family had attended Clays Mill Baptist Church for 15 years. New tonight, police in Nelson County are trying to figure out what led to a deadly shooting. Bardstown police say someone shot 61-year-old Michael Unsled on West Stephen Foster around midnight. Emergency crews rushed him to Flagler Memorial Hospital where he died. So far, police have not made any arrests. A Kentucky teenager accused of killing a coal executive in West Virginia is heading back to the state to face charges. Brandon Fitzpatrick waived his extradition hearing in a hearing in Kenton County, Ohio courtroom Friday. Prosecutors don't know yet when Fitzpatrick will arrive in West Virginia. He and 20-year-old Anthony Arriaga are both charged with murder. Police say the two were selling drugs in the area when they ran out of money, spotted the coal executive in the cemetery, and robbed him. A third man, Ricky Peterson, is charged with accessory and giving false information to a trooper in connection to the case. The rain isn't stopping Lexington's annual Relay for Life event tonight. The American Cancer Society is holding its Relay for Life Festival of Hope right now at Masterson Station Park. This year, the event will not run into Sunday. It ends at midnight.
They will always be in our hearts, so this is just to show them that we will always love you, and no matter what, we will fight for cancer.
The Sunday Best will be playing out there tonight. The Luminary service is scheduled for 9:30. Admission is free, but it is $5 to park. Coming up on WKYT, they are stepping up to stomp it out. How hundreds are helping find a cure for diabetes in Lexington.
It is a WKYT First Alert severe weather day with strong to severe storms bearing down on the bluegrass. And right now, a severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for the northernmost counties of Kentucky. We're looking at Boone County, northern Grant County. That's in this yellow box here as that line of thunderstorms that just passed through the Jefferson County, Louisville area works its way eastward. Now, this will not only bring lightning and heavy rain, but 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts have already been recorded within this boundary area here. So that is certainly something that we will keep our eye on. Now, this is all part of a very distinct line of thunderstorms stretching right now from the western edge of Franklin County southward all the way into Bowling Green. This will continue to work its way eastward right along the BG Parkway and I-64, bringing with it heavy rain and lightning. You can really see in the leading edge of this near the Bardstown area how thick that potential layer of this storm is as it tracks its way eastward. We're looking at quite a bit of rain during this time as well, and it's for that reason that the major player out of all of this, the severe threat that we're looking at, is flash flooding. A flash flood watch is in effect until midnight tonight for all of the counties here colored in by this green color. That does include Fayette County, Clark County, Boyle County, Marion County, and pushing all the way eastward right up to Pike County. And that's for most of us as that line of thunderstorms will track its way eastward and bring with it heavy rain and lightning. Still holding on to temperatures in the 70s, mind you, as the humidity continues to run high, which is fueling these thunderstorms as they track eastward. Now, the models have really had a difficult time grasping these thunderstorms simply because of the organized nature of them, how they seemingly have popped up out of nothing. So as they continue to push eastward, they will break down into the evening hours. Still holding on to some pop-up storms along the southeastern edge, though, moving into your Sunday. Sunday afternoon, continuing to track some leftover wraparound showers from this cold front pushing eastward, but things will improve as we head into our Monday. So a rather short-lived period here of the active weather as we move forward the next few days. But something to keep your eye on here will be the middle of the upcoming work week. Cooler air moves back into the bluegrass, which will not only bring those temperatures back down into the mid to low 70s, but it should take care of that muggy feeling that's stuck with us for about a week now. So, Kristen, as we get into that portion of the work week, things will begin to feel better, but at least we have to get through the next couple of hours here, especially with the chance for some flash flooding and the heavy rain.
You got a lot of storm chances on there.
Yeah, once we get through the next few days, though, things really improve into the middle of the work week, so you'll have a chance to mow the lawn by about Wednesday.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Mike. Hundreds of people help fight diabetes in the bluegrass at the annual Step Out Walk to Stop Diabetes. The walk honors those who fight the disease and it raises money to help find a cure. For those living with diabetes, today's event brought them a lot of comfort.
It's really special because I get to see that everybody's here for the same cause, and it just means a lot.
This year, organizers added a 5K run to the event. WKYT's own Amber Philpott was the honorary chair and MC. Lee K's in next with sports, and many athletes are reflecting on their meetings with the greatest of all time.
That is right. Muhammad Ali touched many lives around the world, including right here in his home state of Kentucky. We take a look back at his boxing career and relive a moment in 1995 when he made his special appearance at Rupp Arena. That's next in sports. Muhammad Ali was known as the greatest, and today the world mourns the loss of the Kentucky native. The sports legend is being remembered for his tremendous athletic feats in the boxing ring and his contributions long after he fought his final fight. Muhammad Ali proclaimed himself the greatest, and millions of fans around the world agreed. Born Cassius Clay Jr. in Louisville, he was introduced to boxing when he was just 12. Just 6 years later, he brought home a gold medal from the 1960 Summer Olympics. He turned pro at the age of 18. And at 22, he stunned the boxing world, becoming heavyweight champion by defeating the legendary Sonny Liston.
I shook up the world! I shook up the world!
The 60s were Ali's glory days. But the civil rights era would become a controversial period in his life. He renounced his given name and joined the volatile black separatist nation of Islam. Ali's heavyweight title was revoked when he refused to serve in the Vietnam War. Ali began a 3.5-year exile from championship fights until the U.S. Supreme Court overturned his conviction on a technicality. Barely back in the ring, Ali's undefeated professional career came to an end in 1971 when he lost to Joe Frazier in a match dubbed the fight of the century. But he would get revenge in a rematch. The famous Thrilla in Manila ended with a technical knockout after the 14th round. Ali was on a roll again. Ali's last fight was in 1981 when he lost his title to Trevor Berbick. He retired the next day. 3 years later, he revealed that he was fighting a new battle. He'd been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Though retired, he never retreated from public life. As his condition grew progressively worse, his spirit remained strong. In 1996, he lit the Olympic flame at the Summer Games in Atlanta, one of the most poignant moments in sports history. In 2005, Ali was presented with the Presidential Medal of Freedom Award, the nation's highest civilian honor. In his final years, Ali penned a book, launched an online store, and even appealed to Iranian officials for the release of 2 American hikers. Despite his physical limitations, he was always the fighter who never backed down. And the Kentucky native made appearances at several UK games over the years, including a game at Rupp Arena in 1995. Ali was in town to help ease racial tensions after a police-involved shooting. Ali was on the UK bench on February the 18th of that year, watching the Wildcats knock off Florida by 10. He would walk to center court, and with the help of a couple of UK cheerleaders, the greatest of all time made the traditional Y, spelling out Kentucky. Ali was also on hand at Freedom Hall back in 1986 when Rex Chapman had his coming out party against Louisville. UK handed Denny Crum his worst loss at Louisville. Chapman with 26 in this one. UK won by 34. Look at that, just sitting amongst the crowd. Speaking of Chapman, he went on Twitter last night saying, "My earliest memories of sports and television are of him. 5, 6 years old and completely mesmerized. Hashtag Kentucky proud." John Calipari said on Twitter, "Muhammad Ali's passing is a sad day for our world. The champ. Thoughts and prayers to Lonnie and the Ali family." Well, a special visitor is in Lexington this weekend. Switching gears now to baseball. The Kansas City Royals 2015 World Series trophy making a stop at Whitaker Bank Ballpark this weekend. The trophy is visiting each of the Royals affiliates, including their single-A affiliate, Lexington Legends. It's the second ever World Series trophy for the Royals and the first since 1985. Kurt Nelson is the director of the Royals Hall of Fame and says he's partial to the 2015 trophy.
This particular era of Royals baseball has been such a reawakening of Kansas City as always one of the great baseball cities in this country, and Royals fans everywhere, really. So, you know, that's why this one's extra special, is the sort of the building of what this team the building of this team and then what they've been able to do once they've reached the postseason. And then to do it in the spectacular fashion, the Royals fashion that they've done it in has really made it special.
And Kristen, if the rains hold off, the Legends will play at 6:35 coming up in just a little bit.
You got to see that trophy in person, too.
Unbelievable trophy. It's, you know, you see pictures of it, and yesterday I got to see it in person. Unbelievable.
Did you touch it?
No, they wouldn't let me touch it.
We'll be right back with a final look at weather. Tonight's Powerball jackpot is $110 million, and Tuesday night's Mega Millions jackpot is $260 million.
A potent line of thunderstorms right now working their way in from the west, moving through the Jefferson County area. A severe thunderstorm warning in effect for portions of Grant and Owen counties. That's that yellow box at the top of the map there until 6:45. We'll keep you posted on WKYT.com on our Facebook, Twitter accounts for all of the updates regarding those storms.
And join us right back here at 11 o'clock tonight.